It's great to see you. And because, of course, the last time I saw you and had a discussion with you, you were part of something that's kind of called what? Music's biggest night in Canada. And you won something that had to do with music counts and music
Maybe the
teacher.
Junos?
Yeah, that was it. And what
That's
was
it.
it that you got that night that's very prestigious? Something teacher.
Music Teacher of the Year award?
That's
Yeah.
it. Congratulations
Oh,
on that.
thank you.
Wow. How did it feel? Because if I understand, they kind of changed up the rules this year, and there was basically like 5 nominees, I do believe. And we were just
Correct.
waiting to basically find out, like everybody else, who was going to be the winner. And when you found out, I mean, what were your thoughts and feelings and everything?
I was thrilled, totally excited, and the kids at the school were thrilled and excited too, because we had been waiting so long to find out who the winner was going to be. And with this prize, which is it's fantastic to win the Juno, of course, and I'm thrilled to have that, but it's also a monetary prize for the school. It's a $15,000 grant that goes towards the purchase of, well, anything that we need, whether it be musical instruments or amplifiers, amps for our guitars, which we do need a lot of stuff. So I was thrilled. Kids were thrilled to find out that we had won, because it meant that we were getting an overhaul of the music room. So very, very happy.
And again, we got to
Definitely.
thank MusiCounts for this, because MusiCounts has been helping schools around the country in helping with their keeping music alive in schools, which has been very tough. Because I know for myself, growing up from the age of 8 to 18, I was always in music. I played the trombone,
Right.
baritone, trumpet, clarinet too. Can't forget the clarinet,
Yeah.
and loved it. But when I found out over the years that schools have been cutting
I
music
know.
courses, it really hit me hard.
Yeah. We've been very lucky. This is the third time that we've received the Band-Aid grant from MusiCounts, and that's usually between a $5,000 to a $10,000 grant that we've received every 5 years to help purchase new instruments. Without MusiCounts support of those instruments, I wouldn't have been able to keep the program running and alive. So every 5 years we get a refresher. This year, because of the award, the Juno and the MusiCounts Teacher of the Year award, we get more. It's a bigger amount allotment. So definitely. And here in Nunavut, what I was hoping for the award, what it would do for us is that my school, the Inukshuk High School, is one of the only full-time music programs running in all of Nunavut. So what we really want is to have more exposure and advocacy for music education in the entire territory. Because as you know, when you talk about yourself being involved in those programs at your school, just the solidarity and how music has become such a wonderful part of your life, wouldn't it be great if all of our students all across Nunavut were able to participate in something like that? And I know MusiCounts is totally willing and want to help with that. I mean, 8 schools in Nunavut did receive grants this year. Even though there's no music programs, there's people in those schools who are willing to help out and to run after school extracurricular programs, and MusiCounts is already supporting that. So hopefully we'll get some systematic in-school programs running as well, so that the students can just be playing music all the time.
Which is amazing. Now, I'm going to get an education here, because I've never said the word before. So if I say it wrong,
Okay.
please correct me. Nunavut?
Nunavut. Correct.
Nunavut.
The U,
Okay.
the U is a ooh.
Ooh. So I'm going to do
singer,
it again.
so ooh.
New, as in new, or Nunavut?
No. Yeah. No. Nunavut. Yeah.
Nunavut.
Mm-hmm.
Am I? Yeah, it's close, right?
That's very good.
I apologize. Look, I'm the guy from back in the day, Northwest Territories, so I'm still learning about all this stuff. But I want to make sure over the years I do say this correctly, because I want to show respect and love for across the nation. Where you live, where is that exactly for folks who may not know? And what is the area like?
Oh, Now you've asked a big question. Nunavut is beautiful. It was a part of the Northwest Territories, so we're in northern part of Canada. And Nunavut, separated from Northwest Territories, became its own territory in 1999. And so the part that separated is above Ottawa on the east side. So if you go straight above Ottawa, you're getting to the east side. Baffin Island is on that side, and then Winnipeg. So it covers quite a distance. So if you go north of Winnipeg, way up to the very top, that's where Nunavut is. So it is the Arctic. And I live in Iqaluit, which is the capital city of Nunavut. There's about 8,000 people that live here. We have 4 schools. We have a lot of snow. It was snowing today. Just to let you know, we had a lot of snow today, it being June 18th. And I can honestly say that it's probably snowed almost every day of June this year. It's usually not quite like that. So we did have snow, and often there's a little bit of snow every single month of the year, even though it does get warm in July and August. So we are up where it's cold. And of course, 85–90% of the population are Inuit, which are Indigenous people. And so the music program at the school, of course, honors Inuit music, both traditional and contemporary. And the primary language, first language, is Inuktitut. Of course, we sing most of our songs in Inuktitut. We do have a huge French population here too, and English, of course. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place to live. And the people are so welcoming and open. And the music is, well, you get talking about the music, it's very unique. Inuit traditions, there's traditional Inuit throat singing. I don't know if you've heard, probably you have.
Yes.
Throat singers, usually two women, but doesn't have to be, and then emulate sounds of nature. And then there's traditional Inuit drum dancing, and accompanying the drum are songs called Piercey. And those are very old songs that tell stories of experiences, usually men or hunters on the land, experiences of life experiences. And so in the school, we have tradition bearers to come in to teach. I have Olivia Chislett, who's an alumni of the choir. She teaches throat singing. And then when it comes to the traditional pisit or drum dances, we have elders or people, grandchildren of elders or children of elders to come in to teach us those traditional songs. But most of the program, we do contemporary Inuit music. So we're talking about Susan Nagluka, who's a famous pop singer.
I know her very well. Yep.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And there's so many more, because the Jerry Cans are an up-and-coming band. They've got Celtic Inuit style. Rita Claire Mike Murphy, who was nominated for a Juno last year. She's a young girl here in Iqaluit. Her music is poignant. It's beautiful. And a lot of her music brings in issues that are important to young Inuit today, struggling and trying to make a go of it. So we sing choral arrangements of all of the canon of Inuit musicians. And so, yeah, the music is beautiful here. Gorgeous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How did you become a music teacher? Where did your career begin? What were your plans? And how did you get into this beautiful spotlight?
That's a big, long story, because I'm originally from Newfoundland, and I'm a pianist, classically trained, studied piano and sang in choirs my whole life, studied at the Royal Conservatory of Music in Toronto, and then went to the University of Toronto to do my undergrad in music and my master's in music education. When I finished my master's, I studied with a man called Dr. David Elliott, and his philosophy of music education was that you can't really separate music and culture. It's, when I was studying music, we did all of the stuff from Europe, Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, though that was considered the canon. But David took a different spin on it. You know, when you're studying music, music is of the people. Music is what people do. And there's music everywhere. And that when you have music education in schools, it really should be about the people involved in the program, or, you know, within Toronto, which is where I was going to school at the time, very diverse. So the music of the community. And the best way to do that, of course, is to tap into your community. So get out into your community, make music with people in your community, make music with people from different cultures. And, you know, and so I found him to be very refreshing. And so I, at the end of that master's, I went to a conference. It was in Newfoundland, Festival 500, and I presented a paper based on music and culture. And this is where the story is going. When I got there, I finished my presentation, answered my questions, and a man walked up to me, and he was a principal in a school in Nunavut, in a place called Upviet, which is on the other side of the Hudson Bay from where I am now, north of Winnipeg. Okay, and he was experiencing some problems with attendance at the school, and he thought that using music and drama and the fine arts would help to increase attendance and at the school. And he came specifically just to hear my paper and said, would you come and start a music program in this community? So that's how it started. And I, at the time, said, no, you know, I'm happy. I was at that point just started a job at Bayview Glen in Toronto, York Mills and Don Mills downtown. We had concerts were at Roy Thompson Hall. And, you know, I was very happy there. And 5 music teachers, you know. And throughout that summer, I was just kept thinking about this place. And I did a bit of research and I thought, oh, I think I'm going to go. And I said, oh, I'll go for a year. That was 20 years ago, just saying. And I went with the idea that I was going to a place that I was bringing music to. I don't know, so naive. Because he didn't really lead me to think that there was any music already happening. He said I was going to bring music to the school. And when I got there, of course, crazy, when I got there, I found a community that was very rich in all kinds of music, and amazing musicians who have been playing for years and had been learning from their family members. And it was a very musically rich community. So when I started at the school, I was looking for the curriculum, you know, what am I going to teach? And there was nothing. And it definitely wasn't anything in Inuktitut, and there was nothing related to people living there. And so I started a mentor program. That's how that all started right then and there. It was a mentorship program, bringing elders and tradition bearers and throat singers into the school then. And that's where I learned so much music. And I spent my days teaching, but more so facilitating teaching experiences between tradition bearers and people at the school. And I spent my evenings and weekends participating in home music sessions. People didn't watch TV, and people didn't really, I don't know, we didn't have internet or anything back then. And we just made music. And I learned so many beautiful Inuit songs from people in Upviet. And so that's where it started. And the kids loved it. We wrote a couple of musicals there with a man named Gord Billard. And we did them in English and in Inuktitut. So they were about 40 minutes in length, and we would do 40 minutes of the musical in English, and then we'd have an intermission, and then we do the same musical, and then in Inuktitut. And sometimes the music would be completely different. So we would have English songs and English music to accompany the English portion, and then we'd have completely different Inuit music to accompany the musical of the Inuit shows. And the kids did flourish, and it was a very rewarding experience for them, but I probably more so for me. I learned so much. I mean, it's such a give and take type of profession. And so that's when I decided to go back to school, because I knew that there was a need for, you know, a curriculum, even though we still don't have one officially, but for Nunavut that honored the music of Nunavut for the schools. And so I contacted David Elliott and said, I want to go back and do a PhD in music education. He said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm doing this. I live in an Inuit community, la. He said, you don't want to do that. You want to do a PhD in ethnomusicology. And I don't know. I said, well, what's that? What is ethnomusicology? And he said, well, that's the study of music and culture. And so that's what I did. And I got to study with a woman named Dr. Beverly Diamond. And that was the start of that. And then I ended up coming to Iqalit and starting up a whole new program at the high school here, using a lot of the stuff that I had learned already in Aqfiat. And then, of course, just continuing to add more and more from music from all around Nunavut. And more people came into the classroom. Yeah. And it's been a really rewarding experience for me, definitely.
Okay, so thank you for explaining why you won that Juno. Wow. Two, where the heck is Disney and why are they not making a movie about you?
Oh, no.
Jeez,
Oh.
incredible. I'm like goosebumps just sitting here and listening to everything. I could not imagine what it was like for you physically, emotionally, what you see, what you smell, what you feel on all of this. Like when you look back at this now, like I'm excited for you. When you look back at this now, what does that feel like?
I don't know, because for me, it's my life. I don't know, but it does. I tell you what has been, especially this, what the award has done is that MusiCounts interviewed people along the way who've participated in the program. Okay. And so sometimes when you're a teacher, you don't really realize the impact that you've had on your students. I mean, because they're young at the time, and I mean, I see them flourishing on stage. I see their confidence level going up, and I see them becoming successful individuals in the society once they graduate. But sometimes you don't get to hear the stories afterwards, and that has happened. So and some of them saying, some of the best times that they had in high school were being in music class, or music class is a place where they felt like they could be creative and they were safe to be themselves, or and that a lot of that has come out over the past couple of weeks. And I've gotten a lot of emails from people, text messages from past students, and so that, yeah, that's I could cry because that's very heartwarming, because you don't even know that kind of stuff is happening at the time, and then you hear about it later. Yeah, and some of the stories are very touching because they go very deep, into the experiences that some of the students have had, and how music and being involved in the music program over the years has helped them get through some really tough times.
Let's go into that, because I think that's very important, because I know for myself, I played football, I was a popular kid and whatever. But when I wanted just a moment for myself, that's when I went into my music class. And that's when I could, like you said, you could be yourself for these kids. And you kind of explained it already. But what does this do, not just for them in the present, but what does this, the music classes, music do for them in the future?
Well, over the years, especially happens in the classroom, but definitely within our ensembles, because when the kids participate in ensemble, they often participate for a 4-year period. So I have a concert band, I have a guitar ensemble, and we have a band, and then we also have the Inuktitut drum dancers, which is a choir. I think what the music program does is, my door, the music room, is always open. And I shouldn't say my door, because it is the music students' room. It is their room, just as it is the schools, but it is one of the only rooms in the building that's open all the time, and students are able to come. It's also one of the places where, I have a mentorship program set up where older students are mentoring younger students, or we have past students that come to teach. Sometimes whenever you have all of that happening, the ownership of the program becomes the students' ownership. So I think that they feel like they have a voice, they feel like they're being heard, and they feel like they're being valued. And that's very important in music, but it's also very important in life. And a lot of our students, and it's not specific to here, I know it's students everywhere, well, people everywhere, people come with lots of burdens, things that have happened in their lives, some very traumatic. And so come with all of that right into the classroom. It's important for young people who've experienced something that could be traumatic in their lives to have other people around them who either also experience that or who are there to support. And so, especially the choir, for example, is a place where solidarity happens and where everyone is there for each other. So, you always think of music as being competitive, yada, yada, yada. But in the program at Inukshuk, it's about solidarity, about creating something together, about working towards something that's beautiful, doing our best, but also just being there for each other and to help everyone to do the best that they can. I think that's important, very important to know when you move into your future life that there's going to be people around to help you. Also, if you're a supporter, that you're going to support other people. I mean, these are huge life and things that everyone needs. And sometimes you need a group or somewhere to be able to make that happen. But what's more important too, is that the music program at Inukshuk High School, we bring elders in, I bring the singer-songwriters in, and the connection that happens between those musicians, the adult musicians, the Inuit singer-songwriters who are singing in Inuktitut, talking about their life experiences, talking about writing in their first language, and then talking about the poetry. I mean, a lot of our kids, Inuktitut is the second language now, or they don't have a strong grasp on it as previous generations. So making those types of connections and relationships with community members, and then being taught the music and sharing in something so beautiful, creates relationships, positive relationships, that also can help young people to be more confident and to be more sure of themselves. So I think all of that happens through music, where you build all of these relationships and you can just be, and then be yourself to be more creative. And I think about, Olivia Chislett, she's must be 24 now, and she's an alumni of the choir. And this is an example where, she teaches throat singing. She teaches traditional throat singing, which is the two girls standing next to each other, throat singing. But she's so open in the classroom, and that she creates a space that allows the kids to be innovative and creative. So they often come up with all kinds of new sounds and new ways of doing throat singing, adding more instruments and writing new music, that it's amazing to watch her do that with the kids, because they're taking a traditional Inuit thing and making it their own and being creative with it. And I just think that whole process, I don't know, it's amazing. It's magical. It's magical to watch. Yeah. And then I have another student. She just graduated from law school. Marley Dunkers is her name. And she's been studying law for the past 4 or 5 years. And she'll say, some of the confidence that she has now to practice her law comes from being in the music program, so yeah, it's extremely rewarding profession, I have to say.
But the other thing that you've talked about without actually saying it is, this to me is another way of harnessing and continuing tradition in a different light,
Way.
where there could be certain people may not have grown up with it, because as we all know, those traditions can be lost. And what you are doing, what the community doing through music, is capturing those traditions and continuing them, and not just continuing them, but growing them also. When you talk about these new sounds and everything else, it's not going to be lost. It's going to be cherished, and it's going to grow into a beautiful garden.
Definitely, but that's the nature. Like, I know we talk about tradition, old days, and let's preserve it and keep it, but that's not life. I mean, life is constantly changing. And we had a singer-songwriter, her name is Louis Ariak, and she wrote a song for us called Kauyumavunga Kinamangama. And what that is life is like the river. And when the river is flowing, never is it ever the same. It's constantly changing. And that's what life is. So when you think about tradition, yes, we have tradition and we want to keep those traditional things alive, but life and young people and the world and everything is going to constantly, flow and change. And for young people to be able to take their traditions and to be able to, meet with elders and to learn it and to honor it and value, and then learn it traditionally the way the elders want, but I'm sure the elders also probably changed it as over the generations that they had. And then for the young people to take it and make their own and make it grow and make it beautiful. And then it becomes, a new tradition for their young people, then you're right to continue on with. Yeah.
I was gonna ask,
Music is beautiful that way.
it is there a
Yeah.
chance, because now you have this title, is there a
Mm-hmm.
chance that your group can tour
Mm-hmm.
Canada in some way?
Well, we could probably, we do travel. We didn't
Mhm.
this year because of COVID, but we do travel. We've been to Alaska and Greenland, and we've been to Ottawa and Toronto and Newfoundland and Alberta. So we do travel, but they are school trips. But with my group, I only have them for 4 years and then they graduate. And then, the next group, it's always constantly changing.
Mhm.
So maybe, I don't know, it'd be great to do a tour, but it'd also be neat to get all the alumni back together
Yeah.
and to make this great big group of young people and then do a tour. We could have. Oh, that's exciting. That yeah, maybe.
Oh, we
And then put
planted
a little-
something. We planted
little
something.
seed.
We will
Yeah.
see. As we're wrapping this up,
Yeah.
what would, if we can go back, how do I want to put this? Because I want to make sure I say this correctly.
Okay.
Back to the Future, the DeLorean.
Okay.
If we can jump in the
Okay.
DeLorean and go back to you in, it was Newfoundland, right?
Yes.
Young you in Newfoundland.
Mhm.
And you don't know anything about what's going to happen in your future. If we can go back and you can go to young you, what advice would you give young you before that principal comes to you and says, "Hey, I've got an opportunity for you"?
Mhm. Young me, I think young me should have made more music with more people. Young me should have made more music with people from everywhere and different styles of music. Like when I was so green when I graduated from the Faculty of Music, because my focus was, well, it was classical music, which I don't regret. I love it, but there were so many other types of music that I could have been participating in and learning about and, learning from. Also, because I was classically trained at the time, I read music, but for me, I had to learn how to play by ear. And I think going back, if I had participated in more, and that was hard for me, participating in more community music, then that skill would have been developed better. And then I also would have bonded more with more people at the time. I just think doing more music with more people and more different types of music with different people would be something that I would tell myself as a young person, because the richest part of my life has been doing that, right? Like that's been the whole joy of my life. So, and I came into it only by accident.
Accidents.
Well, I'll have to thank that man, right? That principal.
Accidents can be a very, very good thing. One of the last questions is, where do you plan on putting that Juno Award when you receive it?
I have it. It's
You
sitting
do?
on my piano. Yeah, let me go get it. Hold on.
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay, we're gonna finally see this Juno.
Talk to yourself.
Oh my goodness, and you got,
There it is.
This is cool, and you got the new one. That is cool.
And look, it's got my name on it.
We can just see it. Yeah, we can see it.
You can see it? Okay. So
Yeah.
it's sitting on my piano right now, but I did have it at the high school. We just finished. We're in exams now. So when I did receive it, I took it to the high school and it sat on the piano at the school, and the kids all had their pictures taken with it because it's just as much their Juno as it is mine. And then when school finished, I brought it home so I could look at it here. And I'll probably take it back to school in September, so that we can share it. And then maybe when it wears off a bit, I'll bring it back home again.
Do you realize that this could inspire that somebody else from your community could one day be winning that same type of trophy? You never know.
I agree. And it's always great to strive for your best, and we'll help support it along the way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. If folks want to get more information from you, or they want to help donate instruments or anything,
sure.
Where do they go to either contact you, the school, anything like that? Where do we go?
They can contact me. I can give my email address.
Yes,
it's my work address.
Give whatever you want, because in this interview, you can't see it right now, but we're going to have websites marked all over this.
Okay, so my email address is mpiercey. So that's MPIERCEY at gov.nu.ca. So that's my email address. But I teach at Inukshuk High School in Iqaluit. And if you look that up on Google, of course, you will find, the information, like a mailing address and phone number as well. But the best way to get in touch with me is definitely through my email. Yeah.
You are an amazing spirit. Thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for what you are doing for Canadians across the country. It's not just in your community, it's across the country. You are a perfect example in what a Canadian truly is. Thank you so much. And even more importantly, too, thank you for keeping music alive at its very roots. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Rudy. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. It was really nice talking with you.